Hello, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 3 of the 10th Divine podcast. This show connects fans and players of the Elder Scrolls games to the community at large. I'm your host, Crown Esso, and today I'm here with WheatFarmGirl as my amazing guest. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking. We've managed to avoid all the hail and tornadoes in my area, but not by much. But we came out the other side okay. How about you?
Um, no severe weather like that where I live, but it has been the lovely yo-yo weather. Is there anything in the Elder Scrolls games that you've gotten up to recently? Any achievements you want to brag about?
Oh, I finally finished the Master Angler, the fishing achievement.
I
That
haven't
took
even
me
started that one.
forever and ever and ever and ever. And I finished that probably the most recently. I've got a couple of vet dungeons done. Haven't managed hard mode yet, but working my way now through vet content. How
That's
about
awesome.
you? What have you been up to?
Um, Trying to get the golden pursuits done to get the new house, um,
Ah,
but not just for myself, also for my daughter. And
oh,
then she got herself in trouble, and she's lost her screen time privileges until further notice.
that happens.
So now it's been like, well, I don't really want to just work on mine. So it's kind of, but we only have a few days left, so like I'm gonna have to buckle down here. I have a couple
Yes, you
things
are.
yet. Yeah, I have a couple things yet. But if I just sat down and did things, it would be okay.
Yeah, there you go. But IRL, I get it.
Hmm. So should I call you Wheat Farm or Girl? What's
Yes,
what's the shorthand?
ev- all my friends call me Wheat.
Wheat. All right, Wheat. We've only just come to know each other through our mutual friend of Icy, who was on the show a couple episodes ago talking about housing in ESO.
Yep, I saw
And
that podcast. It was excellent.
awesome, thank you, appreciate it. Um, And so Icy name dropped you as someone who does console housing. And so I'm going to pick
Yes.
your brain a little bit about that and uh, shine a light on some of your works. But first, how did you get into the Elder Scrolls in general and ESO?
Long story short, I started with Skyrim and absolutely fell in love with the game. With my son was younger back then, a little boy. And then when I was working at the high school library, a bunch of my students that were in book club, I had 42 kids in book club, and a bunch of the guys played ESO. And they says, "Oh, you gotta try it. It's so much fun. If you like Skyrim, you're gonna love ESO." And they talked to me about it. And they were all so excited about it. So I thought, okay, I'll give it a try.
Awesome.
And I bought it, started it up, and I was like, I'm not sure this is for me. And then I'd ask a question, like in the open chat, and people were so rude.
Oh,
I thought, this is not for me at all. And I quit playing. Then I went back to it 3 years later. I actually started playing then after the Elsewhere DLC dropped.
okay. Yep.
So that was my first DLC, and I met some wonderful people that answered questions and didn't call me noob and all of that, and uh, I got hooked.
That's awesome. I recently just saw a post where it was a meme of some sort, and the character's like, "Noob just means new player, not bad player. Stop mutating this word into other things." Ah!
I like that. I
Yeah,
like that. Yeah, no, Skyrim, I had like 1,200, 1,400 hours into Skyrim. I absolutely loved that.
nice.
Um,
Have
and
you
then I
checked?
went back and played Oblivion after that.
Okay, so out of all the games, Skyrim, Oblivion, ESO, have you
Yeah.
touched any of the older ones?
I tried Morrowind on an old
Okay.
laptop. Yeah, no.
uh, I was just listening
No.
to Lotus of Doom on one of his podcasts, um, and he was just talking about Morrowind again and how that's still my favorite game, even though you can't hit anything.
It was quite. quite a step backwards from ESO and Skyrim, and the graphics in Skyrim to begin with when I first started playing were just so much better and way beyond everything else
Mm.
that I was playing. Because my kid, he was little. We played the cartoony things. We did lots of the Lego games, um, Sly Cooper, those
Oh yeah,
kinds of
yeah.
things. And then we had the Wii, so we do the bowling and tennis and baseball and all of that kind of stuff. And it's a great way to spend time with your kids doing things like
Oh
that,
yeah.
I think.
My kids and I have been recently doing like Mario Kart stuff like that.
Oh, nice,
Um,
nice.
have you looked at or thought about looking at the Oblivion remake at all?
Oh, I already got it downloaded. I've been messing with it a little bit every day. I only get a couple hours a day to play,
Mm-hmm.
uh, so I'm not very far into it. And they've left some of the old glitches, some of the old Easter eggs, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
been uh, entertaining listening to everybody else. I unfortunately have yet to find the time for it.
uh, yeah, it's hard to carve out time when IRL gets in the way for sure.
As I often tell people, it's my own fault. I have an army of children. So the more of
They're a
those you
little
have, people, the less time you have for yourself.
absolutely.
So, at what point in your ESO journey, after you came back to the game, did you start finding yourself in Icy's community?
Well, I had noticed some of the houses that my friends and guildmates had built, and I was really interested. So at work, I have a lot of downtime at my job. So I started just flipping through YouTube, and I ran across one of Icy's YouTube videos on housing, and I was like, wow, she's really great. So then one of my former students, I ran into him, and he says, "Oh, you got to check out Twitch." And yeah, so then I got into Twitch. Thank God for young people to keep us old folks up to date on new technology because I'm 61. Um, Probably way too old to be playing video games, but it is such a blast. I'm so glad I found this community.
If you
And
start
I
doing content creation, you're just going to be the next Skyrim grandma.
no, she was good too. I don't know that I could ever do content creation, but Icy just she's so much fun to listen to and she's so engaging and entertaining. I've tried watching a few others and there's a couple others I like, but she's definitely my go-to. And her stream times work really well for my real life schedule too. So I finally got brave and chat typed in chat and
That's awesome.
um, I've been following her for almost 3 years.
Nice.
And I've learned so much from watching her run the things on PC that we don't have access to in console.
Mm-hmm.
And most everybody's on Xbox or PC. There's very few of us on PS, and
You know
I'm
what?
on a PS5.
It's funny that you say that because almost everyone in my community is PlayStation, even though I'm on Xbox.
Isn't that
So
crazy?
yeah, it's funny. I did already get a glance because you sent me this lovely screenshot. I have your character in their bear mount beside me on my recording. So I also saw that you have a list of alts. So you're a bit of an altaholic, but not a full blown one. You just got a couple there. So
Oh no, I've got 20 characters. I have 20 tunes.
you have 20 characters. Whew.
Yeah. And I do daily crafting writs. I try to do it at least 16 characters every day, but it doesn't always happen.
Nice. I have like five. I think I have 5 characters, and that's good. I have 5 of my own characters, I should say. There was a point in time
What?
where I was getting logins for and doing writs for my 5 characters, my wife's 2 characters, and each of our kids' single characters, which puts me up to like 9, I think. And that was a
Well,
lot.
that's a lot of work to do, and it does take a lot of time to try to grind the daily crafting writs on that many. It's almost counterproductive. But I have a Grand Master Crafter and a Master Crafter, and then the rest kind of fall, level 8, level 7, level
Yeah.
6. That way, if I do happen to go farm resources, I have the proper level for what I'm looking for.
But I was just gonna say that actually, well, the last time they did a full skill reset, I didn't put points into a bunch of my crafting in certain characters for that
Right?
exact reason, so that they could get the lower level resources collected for me.
Yep, that's important, especially if you're a housing master where you need some specific resources. You kind of have to pick and choose
Mm-hmm.
what you do because I refuse to pay for something I can go farm.
Nice. I can get behind that. Things feel better when you put the work in for them too.
Exactly, you appreciate it more.
Hmm. So
Definitely.
is I just spoke called Elsewhere Eldersware. Not quite right. So is Elsewhere your favorite chapter because it brought you back into the game, or is there a different chapter or DLC release that's your favorite?
I really did like Elsewhere because of the dragons mostly and the storyline I thought was really good.
Hmm.
Um, and yes, it's always going to be near and dear to my heart because that's what when I came back in. I really hated that I missed Somerset and Vardenville.
Hmm.
But of course, I've gone back to play them, but it's not the same as a new drop. Um, I have to say, I really enjoyed the Westfield. The Athelia storyline was really good. Enjoyed the crazy looking content there with the mirror shards and everything. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I haven't
But
dug into
yeah,
it myself.
Elsewhere is probably my favorite. Although I hate terror birds. They come running up behind you and run you over without you even knowing they're there. But other than
Yeah,
that, it's pretty cool.
I haven't spent much time with the terror birds, but I do know that my wife to this day is extremely bothered by the way clan fears pounce on you.
Oh,
And
I can get behind that.
like some
Yeah,
characters in the games can be a little mean to you.
they can. Cliff racers come
Hmm.
fly. Yeah, it just things you don't expect to see. And um, when I played Skyrim, I snuck everywhere, had my bow drawn all the time. I played it very slowly and methodically. This you cannot do that. You got to go in ready to battle, and
Yep.
um,
Yeah, I
it's a
also
it's a
had to
lot
adjust to my
different game.
playstyle.
Yes, absolutely. It was a whole new world. It wasn't anything like I thought it would be. That's why I started as a Dragon Knight Redguard.
Hmm.
Yeah, it didn't pan out so well, so that's why I made a second character, and then it just kind of snowballed from there because I really liked the Mag character or the Stam character in ESO.
Awesome.
Um, so now I have a Stam and a Mag in almost everything, at least one
That's
of
impressive.
each.
Which class and uh, preference have you felt yourself drawn to? Like, your Magicka characters your favorites, or does it change depending on the
It
class?
it it depends on content actually.
Hmm.
What I'm running. I really enjoy playing a Necro,
Nice.
Mag Necro, um,
Magcrow.
especially yeah for definitely for trials and dungeons. That multi-res thing is perfect for trial content, um, just to help out the healers and things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Mine, of course, I can't stay current with the meta builds. I struggle to get the vet dungeons done to get the newest and latest and greatest armor and that's a struggle for me. I don't hit like a tank. I don't have the stats, but I
It's
I
okay. In this
try.
game, tanks don't hit; they just take damage.
I guess that's a fair point. I just don't have the time to dedicate. And because I work evenings when most of my guilds are doing their trial runs or dungeon runs, I don't get to participate because I'm at work.
I find
So,
being in the mountain time zone is like the worst.
yeah.
Like everybody's on the East Coast. Cool. So you guys are going to start doing your stuff like right as I'm putting my kids to bed or just as I'm finishing supper because it's 9 o'clock for you
Yeah.
already. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's funny, of all the people I've met through the years, and I've played with people from all over the world, um, I find very few from my own time zone.
Yeah. You made the
So,
comment about how Icy's stream times work out well for you. And
right.
it also worked out well for when we recorded her episode because um, it was like the middle of the day. She just finished having lunch and we could record. And I put my kids to bed. And it was like the perfect timing. My kids are in bed and I can sit down and do this recording.
Yeah,
And I'm like, this is great.
it really is. It's a weird time zone. A lot of my friends and fellow guildies are from the West Coast, so versus the East Coast. So, yeah, the time change is a issue, but you try to work around it, and weekends are dedicated to catching up on. Yeah,
Logus
I
always
see.
jokes the hardest part of running a trial is doing the scheduling.
Yes.
Mm. Yeah.
He's not wrong.
Yeah.
Not wrong.
What got you into housing? Was it just from seeing the YouTube videos, or were you kind of into housing in other games and stuff?
I really enjoyed the housing that you could build your houses, although there wasn't a lot of selection in Skyrim
Mm.
kind of thing. I thought that was really a cool feature. And then my kid got into Sims
Mm-hmm.
and the
Sims
house
is good.
building in Sims. But yeah, then I don't know, watching Icy and the crazy cool stuff that she does. She is an amazing builder. And then listening to her, she talks about totes and some of these other fantastic builders. So I started watching more YouTube videos, and um, yeah, I gotta try this. I might
Hmm.
not be able to do it, but I gotta try it. I mean, when I started, I got the Lunar Champion for free, and I walked in and
Oh.
cried because it was so ugly. And
That's awesome.
all I could make was like the Khajiit cushion and the fire pit, and that's it. I've been playing
Humble
like what?
beginnings.
Yeah, and one of my friends, he was into housing at that time. He decorated the whole place for me,
That's awesome.
and we've been playing together almost 5 years. And he's just my best friend in the world, and he was amazing. He made it look pretty, and I'm like, oh, this is great. So then I really pushed to become a master crafter,
Yeah.
and I got to be a master crafter in about 10 months, just 11 months, maybe just under a year.
Nice. I
Um,
I've like picked away at it over the years, but so as we hit the middle of the show, guys, it's that time of the episode where I get to talk to you about the fact that we're part of the Robots Radio Rocket Club. You can find our show and lots of other great shows of all sorts of video gaming and really creative ones too. There's like the Chad podcast, radio show of Fallout. You have the recently joined the network is actually the 40K Lorecast. You can go over to robotsradio.net and check out their directory. And if you're looking for more MMO focused podcasts, you can find ones like Realm Maintenance and Podcast Reborn over with our friends at bonusroll.gg. And I realized last show, while recording and editing with Avron, that I haven't actually talked about Extra Life, even though that was one of the motivators behind me taking on the show. So, Extra Life, if you don't know what it is, I came on the show and spoke on episode 11 of season 1 about Extra Life and my involvement in it. I'm still doing Extra Life. It is part of the Children's Miracle Network hospitals, charities, and it supports any one of 170 hospitals across North America. If you'd like to see who the team members are this year for the Elder Heroes, you can go to extra-life.org/team/elderheroes25. and that is spelled Heroes. We have 4 teammates registered so far this year. We've raised $375 for different hospitals, and we actually have a hopeful goal of hitting a lifetime total as a team of $50,000 this year, as that would bring us to 50K in 5 years as a team. So that's kind of my little like, ooh, and I've been trying to hype people up in our Discord for that. I'll have links to our Discord if you guys want to come check out and see what kind of things we're doing for charity in the show notes. And if you would like to check out my personal page, if you can get through it through the team page, or you can go to the same website /participant/crown SO25. My wife, she's not a min-maxer, but she's a completionist. So she gets stuck onto something, and then she runs that to the completion. Like when she got antiquities.
Scrying.
Yeah.
Oh, yep.
Antiquities, she got that taken care of, and like had it all maxed out and had all the cool power ups and stuff. And I was like, oh, there's like more to that. I guess I should spend some time on it. And then then she was like, so I collected all this stuff for a house. I was like, well, you have a house. Oh, I have a house? Because she has the antiquities gallery.
Oh, right, because that was a free one.
That was the free one for the release event, right? And she's like,
right.
Oh, okay. And then she just like pile dumped everything in there originally. And then she started critiquing it a bit more. She's like, well, I don't really know where to start. So she had me start moving stuff around in her house. And we went full Bosmer. Every carcass and undead thing that she could find, that's on the exterior of the house. So it looks like she had some sort of not quite a wild hunt, but like she had a hunting party come in. They threw all the bodies on the tables, and they were stripping them for meat, and then they just left the carcasses there. And that was the extent that we had done at the point. And then she started picking away more, and put it all the antiquities. And so she started building walls, built a toilet.
Yep.
And
those are important.
Set it up so that like each of our kids had their own room and space in her house.
Very cool.
Yeah, including I want to say she actually even like built a crib or found something that looked like enough like a crib.
Oh, nice.
For before the youngest one was born.
Oh, I love that. Love that.
Yeah, so it's interesting to see what people can do. I know there is a bit of a struggle on console though, because it's not even with the addition of precision editing, it's still a little finicky at times.
It can be, and things do have a tendency to move, especially when they're linked. Um, precision editing was a lifesaver. What a godsend that was. It made housing so much easier.
I didn't know that they had added it. I discovered it accidentally while doing house editing, and was like, "Oh, this is cool."
It is very cool. And if you're a math geek like I am, it just, yeah. But you will also discover that there is no house that is truly square.
Well, that's the same in reality. I've done residential construction. Your house isn't square, your house isn't level, your house isn't plumb, and you don't want to know what was in your house before the bathroom was installed.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And yeah, that's real life, folks.
It is real life. So precision editing does have limitations because things aren't truly square to begin with. I finally learned to do perfect circles. Took me a while to get that one down with the precision editing. And it's really easy now that I got the hang of it. And I had a guildmate show me a trick to that.
When you start a new project, where do you begin?
Well, I've always been drawn to the smaller properties. I like the little and cozy.
Mm-hmm.
And like the snug pod, for example, you walk in there and go, this is ugly. And I think I sent you some screenshots of the snug pod. Completely reskinned the whole thing, and that's where I learned to do precision editing. I had a friend show me how to use that, and then the math brain took over.
Oh yeah.
And you can match up your lines and
yes. I'm gonna make sure I share this with my friends over at the Snug Podcast because they have multiple Snug Pods that they host their show. They're on PlayStation.
Oh,
They
very
actually
cool.
they're part of the Lore Seekers branch, and they've been on the show in the
Okay.
past. And they actually
Nice.
record their podcast in their Snug Pod over PlayStation Chat.
That's so cool. I'm gonna have to check that out.
That's pretty awesome. And Gwen the Bard, she looks after their home decorating, and she does different themes for the different events that they have going on inside their
Nice.
Snug Pod. But
Kind of a thing. And that was really my first introduction to precision editing and alignment and made a huge difference. And by that time, the Blackwood uh, expansion had come out. You could do the Leyawan walls,
yeah,
which were so pretty. Um, and that's where I really got into that. I suggest for anybody just starting in housing, take a small property, reskin it. It doesn't have to be round. You can pick a square one and just reskin it to work on your precision editing,
yeah,
just to practice. Um, it's a great way to really get the hang of it, and just think about it as simple geometry. Line up your angles, line up, numerically, because it gives you all the numbers uh, with
yeah.
your yaw and your rotate and all of that. So, but if you're going to make something round, don't tilt it before you make it round because it will not precision edit correctly. Leave everything standing
Oh,
upright or flat and
nice.
then tilt it after it's in place.
So, what other little tips do you have besides that? That's an interesting one I wouldn't have considered.
Um, because we don't have like the essential housing tools, we can't make, with the push of a button, we can't make spirals or things like that, but we can if you just use math.
Yeah.
Um, Other tips and tricks, think outside the box. Look at things upside down, backwards, cattywampus. You'd be amazed what you can cobble. Um, I'm
Oh yeah.
not the best cobbler. I've got a guildmate that makes these amazing vehicles. He does like military craft,
Oh, that's
like
cool.
B-52 bombers, F-15 fighter jets, Tomahawk helicopters. Then, of course, he's branched out into Star Wars and Star Trek, and they're just absolutely amazing cobbles with most of the clockwork things.
That's fantastic. I remember
It,
years ago somebody had done in the cave that has the shipwreck in it. I think it's the house in Oridon.
yeah, the something grotto.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
they took that one and then off of the shipwreck built a spaceship that's like docked to the top of the uh,
Oh,
sea
very
ship.
cool.
Yeah, and built in all
Very
the
cool.
clockwork parts and stuff, so it looks like somebody was docking with the shipwreck.
That's very, very cool. Yeah, it's amazing. You can tell whether a person is super artistic or super critical thinking type
Hmm.
skills based on their builds. Um, like a friend of mine, Genova, who has his own YouTube channel and shares a lot of his builds, is super creative. But he takes his ideas off Pinterest or he'll Google search images for something that they're looking for. Him and his wife both house, and they'll browse uh, images of what they have in mind, and then he can recreate that using ESO pieces. It's
Yeah,
crazy good.
that's awesome.
Um, it
So
is. I can't do that.
Genova Seth is the one who did the video of your movie theater that you sent me, right?
Yes, yes, he is.
How did you make the paper towel dispensers?
Those are just clockwork. What do you call them? Coffers.
Okay. I that was one of the, like there's a few things that stood out to me of how you of the things you did, but that was one thing that was like that actually looks
Yeah,
like paper towel
it
dispensers on the wall of this bathroom. That is
it
awesome.
does. And another guildie had used that idea with the halalu towels because they're white, coming out the bottom. She
Nice.
had done the same kind of thing. And, people get, oh, you stole that idea from me, or, can I steal that from you? Well, we have a limited number of resources where, yes, we're all going to have similar ideas.
Yeah. That's awesome,
There's
though.
only, there's only sharing.
Speaking of sharing, I will
Like,
be linking that video into the show notes for
oh,
today's episode for anybody who wants to go check out this movie theater. It looks really
thank
cool. I
you.
like the where you place your different house guests and stuff to really kind of bring it alive. That
Yeah.
gave me a good chuckle. I appreciated Stibbins working behind the bar,
Yeah.
and
He needed something to do.
yeah, he seems like he'd be the oddly old guy behind the counter at a movie theater. Like he
Yeah,
fits that type. I feel like that was a
he
good placement.
does.
Yeah.
He does. Yeah, it's important to have your NPCs or your house guests wandering the property to make it feel lived in or lively. A lot of people overlook that and path them, and it gives a whole different dimension of depth to your build. Where
Yeah.
I do mostly traditional builds versus somebody like Icy who does these crazy cool things. Um, I'm more of a traditionalist. I try to stick to lore specific, but the NPCs make a huge difference in
Yeah.
bringing your build to life.
So, of all the houses that you've done, which one has been your favorite so far?
Oh, I guess probably my snug pod because that was the first one I really did well. Um, I mean, I've tried other things and expanded and tried new techniques, and I've I always go back to that one, and I've tweaked it and redid some things as I've gotten better. I can still go back in and precision edit better, or make adjustments that would make it look even better, because it's the fine details that make the difference.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, the snug pod's always going to be near and dear, just because that was my first presentable builds that I did by myself,
that's awesome.
kind of thing.
Is there a
Um,
particular furnishing that you find you use all the time? Like it's secretly your favorite, or you just know it's your favorite because like I have to have it in every house.
and this is going to sound so stupid, but the chronometer, um,
That's awesome. That makes
whether,
sense. That
whether,
makes perfect
yeah,
sense.
and
Have you?
to get light streaming through the windows at a certain angle, sunrise, sunset are the best times to get light streaming through certain windows. Big feeling, um, make a huge difference. I mean, furnishings, I'm more traditional and try to match everything when sometimes that's not possible.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen lots of really good builds where they mix and match different styles. So I don't have a favorite there because I try to stick with whichever style I pick for the house, depending on the color. It's usually because of the color.
Oh yeah,
If I want to create warm and cozy, I use darker wood. If I want to create more lively and vibrant, I use a lighter or reddish wood, uh, kind of a thing, if that makes sense.
yeah, for sure.
Um,
With
anyway,
with
yeah,
update 46 just quite literally around the corner, just not even a month away now,
I'm
and
so
the
excited.
APIs being released for the consoles. What add-ons are you hoping to see come to console first? And it doesn't have to be the housing ones. If there's something else you're like, ooh, I'm really excited for that too.
I would be super excited to see like a damage counter or a damage calculator,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the new. I mean, yes, you can go hit on a dummy for and kind of calculate it yourself, but wouldn't it be cool to have something that say, okay, if I mix this and do a completely crit build, what am I going to have to tweak to get my pen up to offset the crit build? What sets am I going to have to run and kind of do it that way? I think that would be super helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I'm not good at memorizing all the sets and what they do.
I don't
Um,
even try. I just find something I like. Um,
well, there you go.
Last
Um,
year's Extra Life stuff I did with Tales of Tamriel podcast. Um, Promethean, one of their part-time hosts, was doing his portion. He was talking about tanking and what he runs, and I was like, Dude, I just run the Livewire set, heavy set from Clockwork City, because then things hit me and get hurt.
Well, good point. Good point.
It's probably not the
Um,
best set, but like I enjoy watching everything get electrocuted.
oh, I read the Bad Tinkerers for a long time because it made me giggle. You know, just you got to play what you enjoy.
For
But
sure.
to do trials and things like that, a lot of the elitists expect you to be able to hit a certain DPS number, and you got to be prepared for that if you're going to run prog. You got to have something set up just in case. Um, the other thing, I'm super excited about the furniture vault. That is
Oh
going to be
yes, yes.
amazing.
Mhm.
Um, the other add-on that I really think would be super helpful to console players is I know Icy uses one of the inventory categorization. You can see what
Yes.
house it's in and how many you have.
I think
Um,
that I don't understand how that isn't base game, and like
yeah,
that should be base game. I shouldn't have to go from house to house to house to go seeing what I have in every house. That is
yes,
uh,
I think that would be
seems so obvious
so.
to me. I didn't even realize it was an
Yeah,
option until Icy was actually mentioning it when I was talking to her, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, why
yeah,
why isn't that base game? That should be base
yeah.
game."
Yeah, because I don't think Zoss realized how big the housing community would become and how popular it would get.
That's fair.
Because technically, this is a fighting game. This is all about PvP and story content and fighting monsters. Housing was kind of a side hustle,
Yeah,
and
I like how it's always like it's the least MMO on the market, but also probably the most profitable.
well, and I think housing has a lot to do with that because we spend lots of money to get the stuff we want
Hmm.
as housers because you gotta have the newest and latest and greatest statue, and most of those are crowns, and
Yeah,
yeah, my entire entertainment budget goes to ESO for
nice.
housing.
All right, it is time for the funsies questions.
Oh boy.
Which faction do you call home in ESO?
80 for the queen.
The previous hosts would approve.
uh, my first character was a red guard because that's what I'd played in Skyrim, and I was Daggerfall, and then everybody I met was 80.
Hmm.
So I eventually switched to 80.
What has been your favorite quest? And it doesn't have to be Elder Scrolls theme, but if you just have a storyline of any game that's your favorite, but what's your favorite quest?
Oh, the All Flags island quest with Stibbons and Lady Laurent was hilarious.
I haven't done that one yet.
Oh my God, you got to do it. You'll giggle the whole time. It was hilarious. Love anything with Roz. But I'm also a big Assassin's Creed fan. I've played all the Assassin's Creed games.
Good games, good games.
The Ezio storyline is just epic. Um,
He really is the main character. He gets three of his own games.
yeah, he's the goat, man.
If you could bring a race or creature from Nirn and put it on Earth, what would that be?
Probably have to go with Elfique, the little talking cats. Those are just too much fun.
It makes sense. It'd be pretty cool if we had talking kitty cats for sure.
Just something unique. I mean, there's so many to choose from, but the talking kitty cats would be cute.
And if we reverse that and we were to take something from Earth and transplant that into Nirn, what would you place there?
Well, what I really miss in ESO that we had in Skyrim and we don't have in either Oblivion or ESO is children.
Oh,
We were
yeah.
able to adopt children in Skyrim, and there were kids walking around as NPCs and toys and things like associated with children, and we don't see that in this game at all. I mean, I get why, but I think it would be a cool addition.
I also laugh because part of the New Year's festival, New Life festival things is the War Orphans March. but
Yep.
there's no orphans in the orphanage because we don't have
Yeah.
children NPCs.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think that would add real depth of story uh, to the lore. Because what are we fighting for? Don't we fight for our future? And there is no future without children.
Um,
I mean, maybe that sounds a little wonky, but
no, I that's a really unique answer. I haven't heard an answer like that, and I appreciate that. That's awesome. Of all of your experience and years of gaming, what's been the biggest moment in gaming that you wish you could relive for the first time again?
oh, I've got a couple of those. Uh, I'd have to say the one that caught me the most off guard was playing Assassin's Creed Unity and going into Notre Dame for the first time on my character. I got the same chills down my spine that I did when I actually visited the structure, before it burned and everything.
Yeah.
It's just there's such an aura of greatness and awe and wonder walking into something so beautiful. And I
Fun
got that same
fact.
feeling in Assassin's Creed. Um, and the second one is the first time I Fus rode a goat off the mountaintop in High Rothgar. That was so much fun.
Hi, everybody. This is Crown from the editing side of things. And I just want to interject with everything I'm about to say is an accidental lie to you. Because apparently, other people have taken details and gotten them askewed and stretched them out of place. And I seem to be suffering from a Mandela effect of thinking that these things were true. And I shared a short on YouTube, and someone commented, "Hey, this isn't actually right, but don't worry, you're not the only person. Lots of people have the wrong information here." And they told me about web article and stuff that I could check out. And I didn't want to keep sharing misinformation, so I deleted that short. But in my haste, I deleted the entire video instead of just pausing it and hiding it from public view. So I actually don't have the name of the person to credit them. So my apologies, but thank you, the person who pointed this out to me. But we'll continue on with the show now with a little bit of added context. Fun fact about the Notre Dame thing, which I'm sure most people are aware of if they're heavy into the games, is they actually 3D scanned the entire church. Turns out, no, that is not true at all. No, they didn't do any scans. Those scans have been done on Notre Dame. It was not done by Ubisoft. And put an exact replica in the game. So
Well, it showed it was beautifully
when
done.
it burnt down, they did not put an exact replica. In fact, certain things within Notre Dame apparently are copyrighted. So they had to create their own version of these things. Ubisoft gave all those files to uh, Paris and the restoration project. So the
That's
reconstruction is actually
wonderful.
based off of the Assassin's Creed scanning because it was the only modern way to put my foot in my own mouth here. But no, apparently not at all. Ubisoft did donate financially to the project, but they actually built their version of Notre Dame in the game off of images and Google searches. Actually, the person primarily credited with its creation says that Google was her friend for quite some time. I will link in the video description, the episode description, actual like investigative journalism video thing that I got shown and tracked down. So you guys can go check this out. But I'm not the only person to have this misconception, which is kind of where I was like, well, it's kind of like a Mandela effect. But I kind of feel really dumb for just holding on to this lie since 2019. Documentation or
Oh,
blueprint for them to try and rebuild Notre Dame from.
that's amazing. Go Ubisoft to my new heroes. That's wonderful. I did not know that. Thank you for sharing that.
I did let Wheat know that I apparently was wrong and shared the video with her as well. Yeah, so that's been the backbone of the rebuilding project, which I guess
That's
it's actually
amazing.
officially reopened now. But
Yes, but it just
And that is true. Notre Dame is open again 7 days a week, apparently, and has varying hours. You can Google that. So, my apologies for not being more aware of the actual situation, but I'm glad the person brought it up to me and that I'm able to now correct that. On with the show.
I don't know, that building just invokes something deep and spiritual when you walk in. You can't help it.
It was.
Uh,
I also had the pleasure of being there beforehand, and it was good.
yeah, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
You just kind of stand with your mouth open.
yeah, but not too open because the street performers might try and put something in it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. What's your favorite time of year?
Winter.
Really? Why is winter your favorite time of year?
Really.
Oh,
Winter
I
is
should think I might know.
because that's the only break as a farmer I get.
Yes, I figured it out after my as my brain like processed what you said. It's like because you don't
Yeah.
have to work the fields. Gotcha.
Nope. And I don't run cattle. Otherwise, winter probably wouldn't be my favorite. But winter is just beautiful and soft and quiet.
Hmm.
And I love it when I get snowed in and don't have to go to work or can't get to work. And it's just, I don't know. It's a thing.
That's fair. What's your favorite location in any game you've played?
Well, I'd have to go with Assassin's Creed. And I would say I really absolutely loved Unity's locations uh, in in Paris and France and the surrounding countryside, um, because I'm French ancestry,
Hmm.
so it was really fascinating to see that. And of course, Italy. Come on, it's hard to beat Italy.
Yeah.
From from the Ezio trilogy. Um,
What has been your least favorite gaming experience?
the toxicity in chat. Uh,
Avron last episode was also like people.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, an MMO is intimidating to somebody that's mostly done solo play.
Oh, for sure.
Um, and the toxicity in chat just, yeah, it's kind of over the top.
Yeah.
But then when I started PvPing, I realized, oh, yeah, that's nothing compared to PvP. Um, that's a whole nother world unto itself kind of thing. Um, and it's part of the game. I realize it as part of an MMO. I just don't necessarily love that part of it.
Yeah,
As
I
far as yeah, it's just it ruins it for other people when people get stupid.
yeah. And some people get too bound up and have some unnecessary emotional responses. It is still just a game, guys.
It is. We're
Yeah.
supposed to be here for fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's not life or death. Uh,
Kind of reminiscent of
yeah.
like really angry soccer moms.
Yes, and
You
yeah,
call that a call,
there's
referee?
yes, it's just people lose their tempers over nothing. It's just a game. It's supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
fun and entertaining, and
For
we
sure.
need to keep it that way for sure.
So, Wheat, I want to say thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your perspective as a console uh, player on housing and stuff, and just putting yourself out there into the greater community at large. Is
Well,
there
thank you.
is there somewhere else, or is Icy's Discord the main way for people to track you down?
Probably Icy's Discord is probably the easiest way to track me down because I don't do any content. I never even thought about it. Um, I love building, but I am probably one of the worst builders in my guild. My main guild is full of extraordinary builders. I look like an absolute noob compared to them. so I don't do any of my own content.
But
Uh,
you're a noob that's been on a podcast, so you can fluff up your
well, I
chest a
can.
little bit.
I
Yeah,
certainly want to shout out to Icy for putting my name out there. I really appreciate her. She's really encouraging and has definitely pushed me to test the boundaries of what I thought I was capable of.
that's awesome.
Um, she's amazing, and yeah, I guess Icy's Discord would probably be the best way to track me down, or uh, on a PS North America server. Um, I've got a few houses on the house tours. The house tour thing is really cool too, by the way.
That's been fun.
Uh,
Yep.
it has been a lot of fun, and it's a great way to get inspiration. Just don't steal it verbatim, kind of thing. Take the idea and make it your own.
Thanks everybody for tuning into the show. If you've enjoyed it, please let other people know, share it, give it a review wherever it is that you're listening to the show, or if you're watching it on YouTube. Rating and reviewing the show is what will help other people find it, and especially since the show existed, took a big hiatus, and has come back, it's even more important, I feel, that people know that the show is active again. You can also give us a review over at the bonus roll directory from bonusroll.gg/directory to go find it. And if you'd like to get in touch with the show, you can find us on Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, and on YouTube with at 10th Divine Podcast. You can email the show at 10th Divine Podcast at gmail.com. And you can find me, myself, at Crown ESO, ESS0, in all of those places, as well as on Twitch. And if you'd like to support the show, you can go to ko-fi.com/the Pierce Family, Pearce. We'll be back in another fortnight with a lovely chat about Elder Scrolls. Tot scenes.